This is the true story of Charles Robinson's life. He was a musician, singer, songwriter and composer. In this story, you will learn how a single mistake in life can become a lifelong punishment. You'll see how, when nature takes something away from you, it gives you many gifts in return, and how a person can stray from the right path and end up on the wrong one in his life. At the beginning of the story, we are introduced a man named Ray, who lives in Florida and wants to go to Seattle, which is 5,000 kilometers away. The bus driver doesn't want to take him because Ray is blind, and the driver doesn't want to make such a long journey with a blind man. He refuses to take Ray. Ray tells him that he lost his eyesight in Normandy and that despite this, he didn't ask for any concession and paid the full fare for the ticket. Hearing this, the bus driver agrees to take him along. Actually, Ray lied to the bus driver, and it reveals that Ray knows how to deal with the world. Now Ray reaches Seattle, where his friend lives. His friend's name is Gossi, and he is a guitarist. Ray arrives at the place where Gossi works. The manager there, whose name was Marlene, she talks to Ray. Just then, a man comes in and says that the performers scheduled for today did not show up. Marlene tells Ray to go and audition on stage. Ray isn't prepared for this and says, "How can I do this? I haven't prepared anything." Marlene insists that he has to do it, saying that this is how auditions work. Just then, a short man comes up and offers Ray a cigarette, and saying, "Smoke this and all your worries will disappear." When Ray smokes it, he realizes it isn't a regular cigarette but something with a stronger effect. This gives Ray confidence, and he goes on stage to play the piano and sing. His performance is so good that all the bored people in the audience become happy and start dancing. Marlene realizes that Ray has talent and is a valuable asset. She offers him a job and tells Gossi that there's no need to book a hotel for Ray because he can stay with her. However, Marlene has ulterior motives. She wants to exploit Ray sexually, and she does. Living at her place becomes distressing for Ray, but he doesn't have anywhere else to go or a job, so he can't say anything despite wanting to. Gradually, people start liking Ray's work. Because of him, all the club entries and tickets sell out, and Ray begins to gain fame. One day, as he is packing his briefcase for an out-of-town show, he feels like there's water inside and senses a child's hand, which scares him. Just then, a boy comes by. Ray asks him, "Can you close my suitcase?" and the boy closes it for him. As they are on their way, their car breaks down. Ray tells his friend that he needs a place of his own. His friend Gossi replies that living for free doesn't feel right. Ray says, "Where is it free?" Gossi responds, "Keep satisfying her, and she'll make us rich." After that, they go to the club for the show. Ray performs exceptionally well, and after the show, a man approaches him, saying he wants to record a song with Ray. This man is from a major music company. Just then, Marlene and Gossi come over. Marlene claims to be Ray's manager and insists that the man must talk to her first. The man agrees and goes off with Marlene and Gossi. Although Ray wants to go with them, they don't let him come along. Just then, the short man appears again and says, "Ray, I have some good stuff for you, take a couple of puffs." Ray responds, "I know you just want to distract me until they're done." The man insists, "I have nothing to do with that." And Ray goes with him. The man reveals that everyone is making double the money because of Ray. He explains that Marlene and Gossi have formed a partnership, and since Gossi is the leader, he earns double. Ray declares, "I lead this band, from now on, I'll do things my way." The man then asks, "But who will book shows for you?" and hands Ray a business card. It turns out to be the card of the same man who approached Ray earlier about recording a song together. This man's name is Jack. Ray returns home, and when Marlene and Gossi arrive, he asks them about the meeting with Jack. They tell him that the deal didn't work out and that Jack is a fraud, with his company having recorded only one song so far. That's why they canceled the deal. Ray responds, "You don't even know how to lie properly." He then reveals, "I met Jack, and he is ready to record a song with me. He even gave me some advance money." Gossi tries to reason with Ray, saying, "We take care of you. You can earn money with us." Ray retorts, "That's why you get double payment from me." Saying this, Ray leaves and goes to meet Jack, the man who wants to record a song with him. Jack tells Ray that his name Ray Robinson sounds a bit odd and suggests combining it with his middle name to make it Ray Charles. Ray replies that the name doesn't matter as long as his name is on the record. After this, Ray starts working with them, and he starts playing the piano in big clubs. People appreciate his work, and Ray begins to earn good money. However, he frequently experiences strange visions. One time, when he's heading to the washroom, he sees his friends doing drugs and they don't let him in, telling him to use the ladies' washroom instead. At that moment, Ray sees water everywhere around him. This is all due to his past, and the story flashes back to when Ray was just 7 years old. He lived with his mom and his younger brother. His father had 3 marriages and did not live with them. Ray's mom had a very strong personality and always encouraged Ray to move forward with courage. She would tell him, always believe in yourself and keep moving forward in life, and also advised him to stay away from drugs. Ray had a deep passion for music. He would secretly watch a man playing the piano. When Ray approached him, the man taught Ray how to play. This is how Ray's journey with the piano and music began. One day, while Ray is playing with his younger brother George, George climbs onto a table where their mom had placed a large tub for washing clothes. George tells Ray, "Come on, let's swim here." Ray replies, "Get down quickly, or mom will see us." Just then, George's foot slips, and he falls into the tub, face first, with his legs sticking up. Ray tells him to get out quickly, saying he doesn't want to play this game, but George isn't playing, he is drowning. Moments later, George's body goes still. Their mom sees this and runs over, but by then, George has already drowned. She asks Ray why he didn't tell her, but Ray has no answer. Although he could have saved his brother, he didn't do anything, possibly because he didn't understand what was happening. This tragedy adds to the grief in their already difficult lives. The sorrow doesn't end there. Over the next 2 years, Ray begins to have problems with his eyesight, and his vision gradually becomes blurry. One day, Ray's mom tells him that the doctor said he will eventually go completely blind, and there is nothing that can be done. This news saddens Ray, and he starts crying, telling his mom that he knows. His mom tells him to stop crying, saying, "No one will have pity on you. Now I'll teach you what you need to do." And she tells Ray, "I will hold your hand twice, but the third time, you will have to walk by yourself because that's how the world works." After this, Ray's mom teaches him how to find his way. She tells him, "You may be going blind, but you are not stupid. Learn to use your hands as your eyes." This early training is why, as an adult, Ray doesn't rely on a guide dog or a cane, which blind people typically use. People are often amazed by this, and it's a testament to the strength and skills his mother instilled in him during his childhood. In the present time, Ray gradually becomes fully addicted to drugs, including heroin and cocaine. A significant reason behind this addiction is his lingering guilt over his brother's death. He frequently has visions of the incident, seeing water and reliving the traumatic experience. Ray believes that if he had been blind from birth, he wouldn't have lived with this guilt and wouldn't have been responsible for his brother's death. As time passes, Ray's interest in women also increases. He could determine if a woman was beautiful just by holding her wrist. With his growing fame, many women are attracted to him, and he has relationships with them. Ray works with Jack and his band, but one day, when his manager mishandles money, Ray gets into a physical altercation with him. As a result, Ray leaves the band. Ray gets an opportunity to record a song, but during the recording session, he ends up mimicking Nat King Cole and Charles Brown because his style is similar to theirs. The man who offered Ray the job tells him, "We need something original, something that is truly yours." Ray responds, "I've always sung this way, and people like it. I need to make money." The man then gives him a lyric and suggests a new style. When Ray performs it, the result is an outstanding song named "Mess Around." And "Mess Around" song was released in 1953, and this song becomes a hit and is loved by people all over the world. Around this time, Ray meets a woman named Della, and soon they get married. Their life is going well, and Ray's professional career is reaching new heights. However, Ray's addiction to drugs and his interest in other women remain unchanged. Despite loving his wife, but Della is unaware of Ray's drug use. One day, Della comes to know that Ray is using drugs. She gets very angry and says, "I am your wife, and you hid this from me. You need to quit everything." But Ray refuses, saying, "I know how to handle it. This is nothing new to me." At this time, Della is also pregnant. Ray goes on a musical tour, and in 1955, they have a son, whom they name Junior Ray. Ray's wife tells him, "Never bring those drugs into our home again. This home is for you and our child." Ray promises, that will never happen. Time passes, and Ray continues to climb the ladder of success. However, his addiction to drugs and his interest in other women also intensify. The guilt from his brother's death in his childhood still haunts him, and he can't escape it. Despite this, his talent is so extraordinary that no one can deny his work. He records songs perfectly in a single take. One day, his friend, who is also the owner of the recording company, tells him, "The effects of drugs are starting to show on you. You're always itching and restless." Ray responds, "Have you seen it affect my work? I always show up on time and complete my work." His friend says, "I'm telling you this as a friend." Ray replies, "If I ever feel that it's taking over me, I'll quit it on my own." Ray then starts blending gospel songs with his music. Gospel songs are spiritual songs, and this causes quite a bit of objection from some people. But Ray doesn't listen to anyone and continues with his style. People end up loving this new style. It is through this music that Ray finds his own unique voice. Previously, people used to say that Ray copied the voices of others, although he did it so well that everyone praised him. But now, Ray has found his own distinct style. While Ray was climbing the heights of success, drugs and women were increasingly dominating his life. In his group, there was a girl named Margie with whom Ray had an affair, and at one point, she became pregnant. However, after some time, she left because she also wanted to build her own career, and she was gaining recognition. During this period, Ray went to Georgia for a show. Georgia was known for its strict segregation between blacks and whites. The venue where Ray was supposed to perform did not allow black people to enter, even though Ray himself was black. A news reporter suggested that Ray should take a stand and make a difference. Ray initially hesitated, saying he couldn't change the system. However, after some thought, he agreed with the reporter and decided not to perform the show. The manager threatened to sue Ray, but Ray stood firm, saying there was nothing he could do, and he left Georgia without performing. This was a significant moment, as the world was dancing to Ray Charles's music, and the youth, in particular, was highly influenced by him. One day, after a show, Ray was in his cabin and had taken drugs. The police arrived and found the drugs, leading to Ray's arrest. However, he was released shortly after. Throughout his career, Ray had made waves in rock and roll, gospel, country, jazz, and orchestra music. The whole world was enamored with his voice, music, and songs. Over the next few years, Ray performed shows all around the world. Ray had everything he needed in life: money, a good family, but then, he comes to know of Margie's death due to a drug overdose. This news deeply saddened Ray and his wife. His wife knew about Ray and Margie's affair and that they had a child who was now 3 years old. She offered to send money to support Margie's child every month, but Ray insisted on sending the money himself. Despite his tremendous success, Ray Charles couldn't escape his past. The memories of his mother and his brother's death haunted him, leaving him in a state of depression. When he goes out to perform a show, the police come to the airport. They say, "We've received information that you have drugs, and Ray has drugs too." He's once again caught in the accusation of drugs, and a case is filed against him, though he's not jailed. Ray's wife tries to explain to him. She says, "In your life, the only important thing, aside from family, and the girls who've come into your life, is your music. If you don't let go of the addiction, you'll lose your music forever." Ray understands that his wife is speaking the truth, and he decides to quit drugs. So, he admits himself to a rehab center where he undergoes treatment to overcome addiction. However, it's not easy for him because he's been addicted for years. He suffers a lot in the hospital, but he has made up his mind to give up drugs at any cost. The doctor tells him that they can offer him a substitute for heroin so that he won't have to suffer, but Ray says, "I don't want anything. I can do it." Somewhere deep inside, Ray's courage comes from his mother. Everything he is today is because of her. She always instilled in him the idea of never being helpless and always standing on his own feet. Along with that, Ray's mom always told him to stay away from drugs. Ray has fallen into the trap of addiction, but he endures all kinds of physical pain with his willpower. However, today he's still mentally enduring the pain that has been in his mind since childhood, the pain of his brother George's death, for which he considers himself responsible. Here, mentally, Ray goes through various situations, and he experiences visions where he sees his mom. She says, "You've become just like I wanted you to be." Ray's mom acknowledges that he did even better than what she taught him, but he couldn't overcome the addiction to drugs. She tells him he needs to let go of it. Then, Ray also sees his younger brother George in his vision, who assures him that it wasn't his fault. In his vision, Ray hugs his brother George tightly. Ray's mom asks him to promise that he'll never touch drugs again and will always stand on his own feet. Ray promises, and from then on, he never returns to the world of drugs, focusing wholeheartedly on his work. In 1961, Ray was completely banned from performing in Georgia, but on March 7, 1979, this ban was lifted. Additionally, the state of Georgia apologizes to Ray, and his song, Georgia on My Mind, becomes the official song of Georgia. Whenever Ray performs in an auditorium, everyone applauds and respects him, acknowledging his talent. In his life, Ray achieved everything he wanted, despite the death of his brother in childhood. Throughout his life, he remained responsible for himself. Even when his mother passed away and he lost his sight, he ventured into the world of addiction. In such a vast world, he never found the love of a father. He also wandered quite a bit in his life, but with the courage he gained from his mom, he touched the heights where reaching is beyond the capability of every individual. Although Ray was honored with many awards in his lifetime, including numerous Grammy nominations and 17 Grammy wins, he also did a lot for society and he made many donations. In 2016, Barack Obama said that what Ray Charles sang the song, America the Beautiful, will always remain in our memories. So friends, that was the complete story of Ray Charles's life. He was born on September 23, 1923, and passed away on June 10, 2004, at the age of 73. We hope you enjoyed this story.